All I hear about today is artificial intelligence, that it's going to change everything, that it's going to take our jobs, that it's going to create content faster, better, and cheaper than humans can. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety, and there's a growing sense that the work we care about as filmmakers, as photographers, as designers, writers, storytellers, can now be generated instantly and algorithmically. In this video, I'm going to share with you why, as a filmmaker, a content creator, a photographer, I'm not quite as worried about the future of artificial intelligence as you might think. I'm going to share with you the 3 essential things you can do right now to prepare for the age of artificial intelligence. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you why storytelling is an exclusively human craft, and what that means for the future of creative work as we know it, and why the age of artificial intelligence might just make humans more important, not less. If there's one thing I've learned in 25 plus years as a filmmaker, a content creator, a storyteller, a business builder, it's that yes, technology can be extremely disruptive. Yes, it changes the landscape. Yes, we have to constantly stay on our toes and adapt to it. But more often than not, it creates new opportunities for those who are willing to accept the challenge and those who are willing to open their eyes to the possibility of a new future. When I first became interested in telling stories with cameras 25 plus years ago, the predominant consumer technology was VHS tapes. The easiest camera to get your hands on, which was still not that easy, was a VHS camera. These were bulky, unwieldy, analog tape formats with no real easy way to edit the footage. Look at how far we've come in 25 plus years. Look at how far technology has advanced. And think about how it has reduced the barriers for creativity. All of us has access to incredible creative tools now. Each one of us probably has a 4K or an HD camera in our pocket right now. We have access to mirrorless digital cameras. We have access to cinema cameras that can produce something that looks and feels like a Hollywood film. We have editing software and computing capacity that can unlock such immense creative potential and allow us to design and edit and build and create incredible work. All of that has been democratized in a sense by the advancements of technology. The barrier for what you envision in your mind, getting it out into the world, is significantly reduced. And I think in many ways artificial intelligence will reduce this even further, to a point where literally each one of us has unlimited potential to share a creative vision that we might have. Storytelling is the language of people. No other species, or certainly no other technology, needs storytelling. We need storytelling. It's how we make sense of the world. There is, quite simply, no point to storytelling without people. There are a few reasons why. Our brains are wired for stories. It's how we begin learning the moment we're born. We learn by the stories that we hear and by the patterns and the formats that we put information into. Stories are ways in which we organize information in our mind. It's part of pattern recognition. It's an efficient way for the mind to work. When we put something into a narrative format, it becomes easier to remember, easier to understand, and easier to connect to emotions that we may be trying to make sense of. Right? This all comes through storytelling. It allows us to assign meaning and connect emotion. It allows us to process change. That's essentially what a story does. It documents a change from one point in time to another. So storytelling is an intrinsically human craft. Think about the last time you went on a trip or had a really remarkable experience. The first thing you probably did was reach out to someone you know and tell them the story of what happened, right? And you put that into a narrative with a beginning and a middle and an end, because it helps us process that information. It helps us understand and put into a container this information that we can more easily understand, connect with emotions, and memorize. So storytelling has been an innate part of humanity for as long as humans have been around. And history shows us that the human drive to tell stories is insatiable. Humanity has manifested revolutionary ways to tell stories, all the way back to cave drawings. the printing press, photography, motion pictures, broadcast radio and television, digital formats, the internet, the way in which I'm talking to you right now. All of these have been revolutionary technologies that have changed how people interact and how people communicate. And at each one of these technological revolutions, yes, there have been disruptive properties to each one, but they've made people more important, not less important. But something that's very interesting about each one of these technological revolutions is that each phase a very predictable pattern has occurred. So the first step in the process when these technologies come about is they democratize how information is shared. It becomes more available and more accessible to more people, right? Think about the printing press. We went from one-to-one communication or one to small groups of in-person communication to the ability to have a technology to communicate from one to many, right? Broader communication. This was problematic in the beginning in many ways because of imbalances of power, but over time, it democratized how people received information. We saw this with the internet as well, as we began to explore this new connected world and the possibilities that it had within it. This is largely a good thing as information sharing becomes democratized, more accessible, more available, more ways of accessing information. So the first thing that happens when these technological revolutions come about is they democratize aspects of information sharing. Immediately after that step, anxiety takes hold. The world of speculation begins. Legacy creators feel a loss of control and agency. Think about print journalism, traditional forms of media when the internet came about and disrupted a lot of those modern systems of sharing information. There was a lot of fear, there was a lot of anxiety. The same was true when photography came about. The ability to take pictures created a lot of ethical questions and was quite simply a mysterious and kind of scary new technology. We wouldn't quite know what life was like without the ability to take pictures today. So once the new technology comes out, information is democratized, anxiety takes hold. There becomes a lot of fear and concern about how the technology will change the world. History tells us that after these technologies become available, a lot of bad content suddenly emerges. Look at the beginning of the internet. If you look back at Internet 1.0 or Web 1.0, it was really just a old format of print mapped onto a screen, right? We hadn't adapted the new ways to use the internet, modern Web 2.0 as we see it today. The same was true with broadcast. The same was true with the printing press and photography. A lot of bad content suddenly surfaces. But after a while, a paradigm shift occurs. The bar is raised and modern formats take hold. Cultural and economic growth occurs. The businesses that are going to rise to the top to create the modern uses, practical applications for this technology will float to the surface. But the next thing that happens when this cultural and economic growth occurs, a really important thing happens. The importance of the technology fades, and the story of how it is relevant to humans becomes the most important aspect. It takes precedence. The human use, the human purpose behind the technology takes precedence. This is really important because at the end of the day, technology is always about people, and it always makes people more important, not less important. The reason for that is because humanity has infinite creativity. Right? We are the tool makers. We are the creative types. We are the storytellers. We are the ones who can reach deep into our imagination and come up with new needs and new uses and new ways of making life better. Technology and even artificial intelligence, something transformative like artificial intelligence, won't replace that immense sort of ocean of imagination that we have access to. At every phase of these technological revolutions, the question moves from what tool are we using to how does it have meaning for our lives? Think about photography. Photography has been around for hundreds of years now. Its enduring purpose is to hold meaning in our lives, to create content that captures, elevates, and inspires and holds on to that meaning in our lives. So, the important thing we can do now is to understand the pattern that these technological revolutions have. Understanding that information and access to this technology is just now being democratized in a sense, that we're in a period that's been proven over and over again to be steeped in anxiety and fear, and an understanding that it's sort of a loss of control in when a new technology takes over, that we are concerned about letting go of the old and embracing the new. We're also in a period in which there's just a flood of bad content that comes out via artificial intelligence. There's going to be some bumps in the road as this technology proves itself out and finds its best use cases in our lives. But after a while, the next step in that process is a new paradigm forms, and cultural and economic growth occurs. And the technology itself will fade away, and the meaning it has in our lives will take the most precedence. So, what does this mean for storytellers, for designers, for photographers, for you, just trying to make sense of a new technology today? Well, I think there's three things you can do right now to prepare for the age of artificial intelligence and to ensure that you're ready for it no matter which direction it goes, and that we can do to hold on to what we feel is most important with our craft. The first thing we can do is continue creating, right? We have to deepen our passion for our craft. If you're a photographer, if you're a filmmaker, if you're a writer, keep going, right? Deepen your commitment to your craft. Do everything you can to learn the most you can about your craft, to understand every aspect about it, to commit yourself to all of the tools and the skills needed to improve that craft. When I think about video and filmmaking, the way to tell a story visually has not genuinely changed in hundreds of years. The craft itself rarely changes. The tools we use to manifest it can change, but we have to learn the root craft. So, the first thing you can do to prepare for the age of artificial intelligence is learn everything you possibly can about your craft. Deepen your skill set, deepen your learning, and commit to understanding everything you can about the craft that you choose to pursue. The second thing we can do to prepare for the age of artificial intelligence is increase our communication skills, right? Generative AI and ChatGPT and Gemini and all of the popular chatbots today won't do anything for you unless you have the ability to communicate with it. I believe that communication skills will be one of the most important differentiators in the age of artificial intelligence. Our ability to communicate with the tools that we use and with one another through these tools is going to be one of the single most important ways that we stand out, that we make a difference, that we retain our value and our power within the creative spaces that we choose to inhabit in the age of artificial intelligence. So, communication skills, do not outsource those to artificial intelligence. Deepen your understanding and your use of communication skills. The third thing we can do to prepare for the age of artificial intelligence is connect. Ultimately, the stories we tell, the work we produce is for people, right? We want to inspire, we want to entertain, we want to inform and educate people. So the crafts that we're pursuing, the designing, writing, photography, filmmaking, whatever that may be for you, it's for people. So connect, listen to one another, go out, talk to one another, meet up with people who are doing the same craft that you're pursuing and learn from one another, right? We have to step away from the reliance on technology and gain human understanding and human values to inform our work. That's how we improve. That's how we grow in our craft. So the three things you can do right now to prepare for the age of artificial intelligence, whatever it may become, is create, communicate, and connect. Create more of what you love, communicate every aspect of that craft, and deepen your communication skills at all levels. and connect with people within that industry and with the people that your craft is for. These three things, no matter what happens with artificial intelligence, will be important attributes moving forward. The fundamental crafts that we're talking about, we have this fear that artificial intelligence may disrupt, are human-led crafts. There is no point to storytelling without people. The tools will change. The tools have changed, and they'll continue to change. The age of artificial intelligence, I want to acknowledge, also has a number of troubling concerns, right? Both globally and locally, there are inevitably ethical concerns that will continue to emerge. There will be boundaries that will be crossed. There will be a great need for guardrails and guidance at all levels on how this technology is used. But as creators, if we stay focused on using the tools that we have access to deepen our commitment to our craft, we have the ability to, I believe, unlock new aspects of human creativity, to tell bigger and more important stories, to make more meaningful and impactful work. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you're interested, I've included a link down below to the 10 storytelling principles that I'm using right now in my work to stand out in the age of artificial intelligence. As a filmmaker and a photographer, I'm looking for ways that I can make my work stand out, be more authentic, more meaningful, more impactful in the age of artificial intelligence. And I've included a link below to the 10 storytelling principles, the sort of guiding principles I use right now to inform much of my work. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed this content. Keep creating out there, and we'll see you again real soon. Oh, and one more thing, let me know in the comments how you're feeling about artificial intelligence in the future. And if you like this video, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Yeah, basically, you know what to do.